Guys, so today's painting video on Scenic Sunday is going to be a little bit different format. I'm going to do mostly type speed painting with instructions every step of the way though. So I hope you grab your brushes and your paint and try and follow along with me. As always, I always like to start out with a rough draft, which is this. We have a nice little crashing wave right here, our cherry blossom, and then I decided I would make it more of a Japanese style with these mountains and the way that they get painted, just to give it a little bit more of a Japanese cherry blossom Sakura style painting. Step 1, we're going to work on the sky. And as like in the draft, we are starting from a bright yellow, fading it more to an orange, but I'm going to try and fade it more to a red. That way I have a little bit of that orange color inside of the blend. So we just want to go down about as far as we want the edge of the mountains to be. We're going to go to about here, making sure to get a good amount of paint on, and then slightly spreading it because you want all of the same colors blended together throughout the painting to give that nice look to it, that nice all-in-one blend to it. And it's not really too important how much color we actually get of this bright yellow up here. We just really want to saturate it down here at the base. So then just blend it out. Always make sure to get your edges. Now with the same dirty brush, we're going to go right into this golden color. Just bring it across just to get it on there. And let it blend. Because the sky doesn't take very long, I'm doing this one in real time, and then from here on out I'm going to show you the basics of it and then do the speed painting format. So don't try and keep along with as fast as I'm going because it will not be in real time. And allow a little bit of the bright to show through. But like I said, at some point you want a nice saturation of whatever color you're blending to. Now, same dirty brush, I'm going into the red. Doing exactly what I did with the yellow. But I'm working my way downward instead of upward. Got a little bit too much paint, and if that happens, just wipe it off. Go back and just work downward. Touch of this yellow to bring back that color a little bit. Working my way back up now. Wipe off a good amount of the excess paint now that we've touched the red, because that red will stain all the way back down to the bright yellow. Back and forth strokes. And if you notice you're having trouble making the paint stick, like I've said before, dip it in some water, because a thin paint will stick to a thick paint. Really bring that yellow back. until you have a very nice fade. To our mountains. Now, for our mountains, I'm just taking the black, and because they are islands, they're not going to completely meet, and I'm just making more of a rounded effect style mountains. And just put in the background, the black. And just bring it back down. Now that we have them like that, I'm just taking my brown and I'm touching it and bringing it down. Make sure to get a good amount of brown on the brush or you will not see it. And you want to bring it almost all the way to the bottom. Take our white and just bring it up for that misty look. Like so. Island mountains, we're going to go straight into our ocean. And keeping just a straight line, as straight as possible. We're just going to go across the canvas. All the way down. And if you notice on the sides, I haven't gotten the sky all the way down. That's because once that area dries a little bit more, I'm going to go straight in with my bright yellow, and it will really make that sunset peak. wave. So I like to use a fan brush for this, dipping it in the white, and just find a nice spot here. Let me show you what I mean. You want the paint in just the corner, and decide where your wave is coming from. And just make a straight line to where your wave is gonna come in at. And then where your wave is gonna come down at, make a line. You want a nice curve there, and just kind of plot it out before you do anything else. Just plot it out. So that's going to be our wave, just like that. So then going back in right here, you're going to start pushing up a little bit. And then right here where it's really crashing, give it some character. Making sure that you get some of the foaminess going straight up. Like this. Now that we have that, we need to worry about the inside. And what I do is I mix a touch of the blue and a touch of the yellow to get this look, and I pull straight down. And it gives you that crashing. But then we need to worry about the eye of the wave. That is where it is the thinnest in the water, and we need to add some yellow from the sunlight. And you just blend outward. Blend outward. You can make this eye as thin as possible or as thick as possible by doing this. Wipe off a touch of the excess and blend this bottom a little bit. And then go back to the blue and just use it to kind of help get that blend. Because you still have the same dirty brush that you used. So get the blue everywhere and then continue doing that. And you should have a very nice looking eye. Now, we need to worry about what this wave is crashing on. So I'm going to just clean off my brush ever so slightly. Doesn't have to be perfect. But we're going to go into the black. And this wave is crashing on some big rocks right here. And go over the white because then it shows the wave behind it crashing. And keep in mind, we still have to add our cherry blossom tree or our Sakura tree. So we're just gonna go down. Do that. Pull out this extra paint. Just go one way or the other. Now with the same brush, we're going to add our highlights. Where are the highlights of this rock going to live? We know there's going to be some up here. And by using the same dirty brush, you're allowing that brown to come in, but then fade back to the black, which is what gives you that realistic shadow look. So heavy brown, and then it comes back till you can barely see anything. Working backwards and down, away from our light source, adds that little bit of realism to it. There. Adding the brown. And allow some variation in your shadows. Don't make them all exact, because nature is not exact. Right here I'm going to add another super highlight of the brown. And I'm just gonna do that. And boom, we have our rocks. And that's where our Sakura tree is going to live. I'm going to add some more splashes here and there. Just to add that touch of realism. There we go. Now on to our Sakura tree. We're going to start with the black. Starting from the top somewhere where you want it. And Sakura trees are normally very twisty and bendy. We're just going to add a whole bunch of nice squiggly lines. Here is one of our main trunk pieces. Now that we have our Sakura tree, we're going to go in and we're going to start doing our petals. I'm going to be using this brush and a mixture of red and bluish colors to make purple, and then a highlight of pink. I have my red and blue color, and now I'm going to use my thick liner brush with this purple, and I'm just going to dab on here and there, wherever there's a branch, some of this purple color. Now, it's completely up to you how much red versus blue you use, depending on the hue of your painting. If it's more of a cool painting, use more blue. If it's a nice sunset, have a touch more of the red, because that light will affect what color you see things in. So I'm just going to go in, dabbing in my cherry blossoms here and there, wherever there's a visible branch. And it's always better to have less paint on your brush than you need versus having too much. And then you have too much of a mess that you have to clean up later on your canvas. So you're just gonna go back and forth, dabbling along. And just like so. And almost done. Just a few more. Make sure you have a nice full tree. You don't want it to look too bare. There we go. Now we have our purple color. Just cleaning the brush ever so slightly. Make sure it's nice and rolled back out. Go into your pink and add your highlights to them here and there. Don't cover up the whole purple. Just wherever you think that a few highlights should live on this tree, following the pattern that you already laid out with the purple. And you can use different color pinks. For me, because of the hue, I am using a portrait pink just because I like the color with the purple of it. It really makes it pop. And if you notice that you put too much purple on, like right there, I will address that in a minute, and I'll show you how you can fix that. Because no painting is ever ruined, it's only just not what you want. Because everything is fixable on a painting. So you wipe off that, go back into your purple color, and dab it back. And this also works for helping blend it a little bit so you don't have such sharp edges. It makes it a little bit smoother. So I recommend going over what you did with a purple anyways, just to really make sure that you have that nice clean look without having bright sharp edges to your highlights and your shadows. And there we go. Now, because this is a Japanese painting, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Just here and there, dropping in some purple dots. Not too big, not too small. Some smaller than others. Now, wipe that back off. Go back into our pink. Make it a nice mixture of the color. Go back over them to make them more visible. And what you'll be left with is the fallen petals of the cherry blossom tree. Don't worry if a couple of them seem to blend into the background, that's okay. Like where these white ones are. Maybe add 1 or 2 more. And another trick you can do is go into the purple, go into the pink together, and you'll be left with a nice combination of both. If it's too dark of an area, be more pink than purple to really make it show up. There we go. Now we have the cherry blossoms falling off of the tree. Now let's add our final details to the wave. Taking our white and the same brush, we're going to add just a couple bigger waves, wanting to start and barely put any pressure on it. Remembering to get that arch. Without that arch, you're just left with a water line, not a wave. Almost kind of like an upside down V, but not such a sharp angle. And then let's throw a couple of wave indicators here and there. Some of the foam just getting dragged down by the wave. And I'm barely putting any paint on. I'm just barely touching it. And follow the angle of your wave. It will really make it a lot more realistic versus looking like just white lines here and there. And as your wave goes out, that is going to curve differently. Just retouch up this spot. And there we go. Maybe add a touch of the white right here. Now let's give our tree a little bit more realism with this really cool trick. We're going to take our brown, we're going to take our black, let them kind of marble on the brush. You want a nice black to brown, more or less just dip it in each, and then let it bring down. If you notice it's not showing up, go back into the brown a little bit. And bring it down. I think we have a finished painting. All that's left is to sign it. And there we go. And until next time, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and hey, wow, that looks so cool.